Hello and good morning. This is the Breville Oracle Touch that I'm selling, model BES990 in brushed stainless steel. As you saw in the photos, this is a good condition machine. It is used, of course, so you do have some scratches on the front, on the tray, a few nicks on the side, some paint, sort of scratching on the top edge here. Nothing too bad, if I'm being honest. I've seen much worse. This one does have a protective sort of cover on the tray because it's got a few scratches and dings on the actual tray itself. So we've put this strip of rubber to make it look nicer and also protect it from further damage and scratching. You can always remove this with some with a hair dryer and some alcohol spray to remove the glue. But yeah, I'll leave it on. I think it finishes the look. This machine actually is refurbished, so it's had a set of O-rings on the boilers, like the silicone rubber, the silicone seals on the boilers changed, the probes as well, full cleaning in and out, and yeah, it works like new now, no issues at all. And in this video I'll be making my morning coffee, so I'll be making a cappuccino. I like to begin every session with a blank shot. So what is a blank shot? I get my empty cup, make sure my portafilter handle is empty, lock it in, and give myself maybe 10 or 20 seconds of hot water. That's going to warm up my cup and my portafilter very nicely. We'll do that. Stop at 20 seconds, I think that's adequate. Let it drip, 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 and put it away. You can even put it on top. So this machine typically takes 5 minutes to turn on and reach full temperature. You can make coffee straight away when it gets to that 5-minute mark, but otherwise you can do what I'm doing here, and that's the blank shot, just to flush things out, to warm everything up to normal operating temperature. I think it's good practice. You want to dry the portafilter after you do this step, because next we'll be grinding the coffee. Now I've just opened a new bag of beans. It's the Aldi brand Lazio. I think it's really good for the money, but I've just opened it. I haven't actually made a coffee on this machine with those beans. Been using a different brand. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm gonna make coffee at grind size 15, but I'm not sure what will come out. If it comes out too quickly, that means we need to grind finer. If it comes out too slowly, that means we need to grind larger. Hopefully that's not too complicated, but you have a grind size selector here, and the grind size goes from 1 all the way to 45. 1 is a very fine particle size, very small, like flour almost. 45 being a larger particle size, almost like sand or dirt. It's a very thick, coarse coffee grounds. The ideal number for every bean is going to be different, so I can't give you a magic number. What I can't say is, I can tell you to start at 20 and experiment, so go up and down as needed. I'm going to start at 15 because I was actually on 10 before, so I'm going to put it on 15 now. We'll make coffee and we'll see. You can think of the grind size as if it's the speed of the coffee. You can even say it's going to correspond to the amount of coffee in the cup. So if we increase the grind size when we're grinding, we'll increase the brew speed and hence the brew amount. So the machine will always give us like 25 seconds for a single shot and 30 seconds for a double shot. We're doing a double shot. So in 30 seconds, the machine will give us 30 seconds of water being pumped into the coffee. If the resistance is very high with a small grind size, the amount of coffee will be small. With a large grind size, there's not going to be a lot of resistance, so the coffee will just flow and flow and flow. You get a lot of coffee in your cup at the end with a very large grind size. So you don't want to get too much coffee, you don't want to get too little coffee, you want to get just the right amount. If you have a scale, that will make things easier, because the scale will tell you what you need to do. If you have too much coffee, you can see on the scale. If you have too little coffee, you can see on the scale. Most beginners don't know what the right amount of coffee is, but it's basically, I think, 1 or 2 ounces of coffee is about 40 grams of espresso. The grind is fully automatic here, so it'll grind, dose, tamp, everything automatically, and it will take it out. It'll be nice and finished. That's the beauty of the Oracle Touch. Same with the milk, it's fully automated. I will say that you have to, you don't have to use a scale when you're grinding, but I'm just gonna do it just because I'm curious, and it'll help a little bit with the dialing in. So usually for espresso, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So we need 2 grams from every gram we grind. So for every gram we grind, we want 2 grams into the cup. So if you get 20 grams in the handle here of ground coffee, we want 40 grams of this liquid coffee in the cup. We'll see what we get. So what I'm doing now is I'm just purging the old coffee that was in there. So about 5 seconds just to get rid of the old coffee that was in the shoots and in the burrs. And I recommend doing this 5-second purge when you are changing the grind size by a large number, or when you're changing beans. So if you're jumping from grind size 15 to grind size 20, I recommend you purge, just so you can get a fresh set of results. If you don't purge, the first few seconds of coffee will be the old grind size, and then later it'll get the new grind size on top, so it'll just confuse you. That's all done, nicely tamped, surface very, very smooth. There's a bit of loose coffee, you can keep that in, doesn't hurt. If it annoys you, flip it upside down in the bin, it goes away. "20 grams, that's perfect. We'll lock this in and we'll make the coffee. So I'm not sure what we'll get. If we get too much versus too little, it's hard to know. I'll make the coffee now, and usually if the coffee flows within 8 to 10 seconds, that's a good sign. If it starts flowing within 8 to 10 seconds, that is. And I can gauge just by eye if we're getting too much or too little coffee. But that's, if you're not experienced, that's where the scale comes in. You can do the shot, measure it, and if it's significantly more than the 40 grams that you aimed for, then that means your grind size is too large. 40 would be the perfect number to chase, but we don't have to be perfectly there. A few grams up and down, that's totally fine. Coffee is not an art, it's not a scientific experiment, it's an art, really. So a bit of variation and experimentation can go a long way. What I'm trying to say is, we'll make coffee now. If we get significantly less than 40, so for example, if we get 20 or 25, that's too little. It's going to make our coffee a bit bitter. So we'll increase the grind size up to speed it up, and so we can get 40 grams in 30 seconds. If by the end of the 30 seconds, we get 60 or 70 grams of coffee, that's too much coffee. So to slow it down, we need to reduce the grind size a little bit lower, to slow it down to around 40. Right, 3, 2, 1, go. It's also a dual boiler machine. You can always steam and brew at the same time. Coffee looks good. Not too bad. That looks around 35 to 40 grams maybe. Could be wrong, but that's 50 grams. So not too bad. It's actually a bit more than I expected. Expected it to run a little bit slow, but that means in 30 seconds we got 50 grams. That means our grind size is maybe a touch too large. So if we reduce it from 15 to 14, we'll probably get a very good shot. This doesn't look too bad. Like I said, this started at 9 seconds or 10 seconds. It's got a decent amount of crema. It's a bit on the sour side. So when it's on the sour side, it can mean either your beans, that's just what your beans are, light or medium beans tend to be on the sour side. But also it can mean that your shot is running too quick. That's what I'm thinking. Our shot is running too quick. But it's certainly drinkable. So if I add a little bit of sugar and milk, which I usually do in my cappuccinos anyway, the differences are more minimal. So you don't have to be perfect if you add sugar or milk to your drinks. But if you're drinking black coffee, you'd want to be more on the ball with your settings. After that's done, give it a good knock, then give it a good flush. Great, that's the espresso shot done. And by the way, that was straight espresso. I haven't added any milk or sugar, which I usually do. Recommended you add your milk and sugar before the shot, just so it can mix nicely with whatever you're brewing. I like to add a little bit of hazelnut syrup, just rounds off the taste, adds that chocolatey flavour which I love. Yeah, that makes it much better. Right, that's the espresso shot. You can convert this espresso into an Americano by adding some hot water. There's also hot water settings in the machine, so you can actually go to the hot water, the long black settings. You can go to the long black and press brew, and it'll give you the shot and the hot water. And you can customize the length of the shot and the hot water as you wish. Select small, medium, large. Or you can just select hot water on its own. It'll give you straight hot water from the boiler right into the cup. Milk. Let's go back to cappuccino and automatically froth our milk. Because it's a dual boiler, the beauty of it is that you do the coffee and the milk at the same time, at least you can do one at a time, and then when you finish your shot and you start your milk, you can start cleaning your coffee part, and then by the time you're done with that, the milk is done. So it saves you a lot of time being a dual boiler machine. I'm sure you already know that. Forgot to say, my milk is on 65 degrees and froth level of 8, which I believe is the maximum. So this is going to give us a chance to test the maximum froth on this unit. Awesome. Slide that off. Let it drip, drip, drip. Give it a good wipe with a towel. It's very important to use a towel, not a tissue. You need to scrub it fairly hard. The wand gets really hot. Steam is really hot, so you want it to be a damp cloth so it doesn't disintegrate as you're wiping. And you really want to wipe it straight away on the outside. And very important, you want to push it down so that it can clean itself on the inside. So just put this down. Maybe put a tissue under it so it doesn't spray milk everywhere. And be careful not to burn yourself. Steam is really hot. Again, I've seen experienced people get burnt making coffee and forgetting that steam is super hot. That's done. Machine is clean. Milk is done. Shot and milk are done. And now I'm just going to complete this drink into the latte that I'll be having. So what I'm doing here is I'm swirling the jug to mix up the layers of the milk, and then give it a knock to break any air bubbles. And Alright. No latte art for me today. We use automatic setting, which does a decent job of giving you some foam, but if you want super silky milk to make latte art, I highly recommend you use the manual mode, which is actually available in this model. You just have to discover it. If you do the wand down, it'll give you automatic. If you push it up, it'll say, if you touch it once, it'll say steam wand raised. But if you hold it, for example, it's up like this and you hold, it'll give you manual option. And you can steam like a barista manually. In this mode, it'll give you the temperature reading on the wand here, but it won't use the air pump, automatic air pump inside. Whereas if you push it down, it'll use the air pump to give you that froth without any hands-on intervention. And that's what we got. That's my cappuccino. Looks good. Let's see how many. Say we've got a couple centimeters of froth there. Pretty decent. I bet it tastes really good. I'm looking forward to having it. I'm sure you can make even better coffees. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the machine, and I will see you soon. Cheers.